Good morning. Today is Friday, 8:05 in the a.m. Today I want to talk to you about another aspect of pain management. Sometimes we try and make people something they're not. In relationships, we may try to make people be the one, the lifetime lifeline, the queen, the king, but they may never have been ready or never been the one for you. And it's so important to have a relationship with God in order to recognize the lane you are in, so you can either maintain your lane or change lanes because you are out of your lane. Sometimes we deal with people out of selfishness because we want our will over God's will and keep trying to force something that never was meant to happen. You trying to fit a square rod in a circular hole. It's just not gonna fit. So I recognize that relationship with God cuts out a lot of frustration. First off, it should be obvious with certain things that these things just don't fit. They just don't go together. There's so much revelation on being unequally yoked with unbelievers. Some people just don't believe in you. Some people will never understand you or see you, and it becomes strife just trying to have a regular conversation. Everything becomes so literal, legalized. Can't do this because it is. Can't answer a simple question. And you have to recognize, like, what am I doing here? Why am I steadily trying to force something that's not meant to be? Some people are just not trustworthy. They only loyal to their agenda. And the only reason they loyal to you because you fit whatever agenda they have at the time. You're a convenience. You're not a necessity. And people will show you how convenient you are when they let you know how many options they have. I'll never forget, I was in a relationship. Every time anything was a challenge. If I ain't your cup of tea, I am somebody else's. I can always do better. Every time I come home from work, everybody say I'm so attractive at work. Be like, go be with that person then. Shit. Yeah. Get tired of hearing that junk. You know what I mean? How you supposed to be with me and you still tell me about all this other stuff all the time? Nobody want to hear that. That's rejection. And that's saying you ain't with me. And if you ain't with me, why am I wasting my time? Pain management. Sometimes you gotta learn to let go. Way before you have to go through a whole bunch of unnecessary heartache and heart attack on some real whack stuff. recognize what's your goal in this. Like, what's your goal in this relationship? Where are you going? Relationship. The ship's supposed to be taking you somewhere. And it's like, where you going with it? And on the other hand, sometimes you got to just trust that God said, this is a whole different avenue. Sometimes you got to recognize the acorn versus the oak tree. When you get an acorn, it's a tree growing. It's a seed that can be planted to grow. And any tree all trees, no matter where they at, they bend to the light. Their branches reach out for light. And in a relationship, the more light you give it, the more it's going to stretch toward that light. Or you being a resource and not the source of light. But sometimes we reject the acorn seed because it don't fit the box that we want to have it in. And we keep rejecting what God said. Oh Lord, you trying to die. You keep rejecting what God told you is the right thing and keep going all around the world. And I mean, sometimes people get tired of trying to tell you that, hey, I'm here. You want to keep rejecting me, but I'm here. You're trying to make everything else be it, but I'm it. You don't want to grow with this. Keep throwing it away. Just remember this. You always gonna face trials in life. But in relationships, it shouldn't be that difficult to be together. Now you gonna have trials in relationships, but it just shouldn't be so hard all the time. It gotta be some good. It gotta be more good than bad. And sometimes it's an attitude adjustment and a paradigm shift of, hey, let me open my eyes to see what I've been neglecting. Oh, this is great here. This is great here. This is fruitful. This is beneficial. This is love. And if you don't know what love is, you can't appreciate it. So I know so many people, especially 40 and below, that have not ever truly experienced love, especially from the opposite sex, or let me say even a man. I ain't even saying a male, I'm saying a man. Or even a woman. Just looking at so many people who have had daddy issues and mama issues, bitter mama issues. And if mama bitter and oh, I just bit her. Anyway, if mama bitter and daddy is not around or don't even know what it means to be a man, you're dealing with some serious hurt and some regular routines of dysfunction. And the only way to manage that pain is I gotta go to the source. I gotta go to God. And how do I go to God when I have no foundation of God? I don't even have a parent who showed me any type of love. It's difficult. It's difficult. We pray, but prayers don't manifest. I don't even recognize how your heart is in the wrong space. You got so much unforgiveness and strife going on that you are straddling both sides of the fence. God said, I'd rather you be off or on, but not straddling the fence. I put the chapter and verse, the scripture in the description. But it's difficult trying to accept something that you never knew. Receive something that you never had. Because you're so busy looking over your shoulder like, what comes with this? What comes next after this? How can I trust you? And it's just the recognition of consistency and a person that keeps on pushing. And really growing to, and you can't be with nobody until you be with God. You just can't. Because you don't understand what love is until you receive God's love. And he'll send it through people, but you got to recognize your relationship with him and him talking to you on a regular basis and telling, hey, this was finna happen. I cut off all social media in terms of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't do any of that stuff. I used to do Facebook a lot, but it became a distraction. And yes, of course, I do these YouTube videos to share, but I just had to manage the amount of thoughts going through my head so that I could receive God's love and listen to him and not get something from my itchy ears coming through a post that somebody put on. And sometimes stuff on YouTube will pop up and I'll be like, man. And I have to, thinking that it's confirming something one way or the other. So I had to recognize, you know what? Let me test the source. And I pray about it. Like, God, is this from you? And through our unique relationship, he confirms it. And I can't tell you what your unique relationship with God is. God is God enough that he made everybody on the earth unique. So he can have a unique relationship with each and every person on this earth. With that being said, once you have received, and this is Ephesians chapter 3, once you have rooted and grounded yourself in God's love, then you can receive exceedingly abundantly more than you can think or ask from God. And I ain't get that. I always thought, ooh, exceedingly abundantly more than you can think or ask. Ooh, wow, go get something great. Whether it was something materialistic or a relationship, but you can't have that until you're rooted and grounded in love with God. And even if he do bring it to you, still don't get the best out of it, exceedingly abundantly more than you can think out of it, until you get that relationship with God, because you're gonna keep looking over your shoulder thinking it's not real, thinking something else gonna happen with it. Pain management. Make wise decisions. Think about where you want to be. And stay in your lane. Or get in your lane. Peace be done.